only my webcam that's getting recorded because I'm spotlighted. So it's really lovely to see your faces and have your webcams on if you feel comfortable doing that. But just so you know, there you go. There's the announcement. Okay, I thought it would be nice to just begin today's session just by checking in and hearing from anyone in the chat box who has never been before. In a minute, I'll introduce the session and talk about mindfulness, and then we'll go through a practice. But we have the chat box that's open. And if anyone who's never been before, or maybe who's only been once or twice, if you'd like to introduce yourself, it'd be really nice. Why don't you let us know your name and where you're from, and maybe also what brings you to the session? What are you interested about? And it doesn't have to be anything too deep or too long. It can just be something really simple and straightforward. What brings you here? I'll give you a couple of minutes to maybe do that. But yeah, you just need to find my name and send me a message, and then I'll read a few of them out. I think it's really nice every so often we can check in and see who's new and welcome them. And maybe if you've been here a bunch, maybe you can send a nice message of welcome and I can read that out. That would be nice. Why don't we do that? So maybe while you're writing that, I'll give a little introduction to these sessions. Oh, we have Angel back again. Cool. You were here on Monday, weren't you? I loved last session, so I joined today. Brilliant. Good to have you back. Hello again. Stella from Cyprus, my first time here, and I'm so excited. Awesome. Welcome, Stella. Hello. Clarissa from South Africa, second time here. Find the sessions refreshing and relaxing. Hello, Narissa. Welcome back. I'm not new here, but it's been months or so that I haven't attended the sessions since I became too busy with work and university. So glad to be back here. That's from Natalie. Welcome back, Natalie. Good to have you back. Thanks for returning. Alessandro, my first time. Hi, Alessandro. I'm Italian. Oh, but I'm connecting from the Netherlands. I tried mindfulness a couple of times. I was very curious to try these sessions. Perfect. And Himanshu, I hope I pronounced that right, says hi, it's my first time. Someone from the Philippines, Dawari. Hello, I'm new here, welcome. Alyssa from the Philippines, my first time, hello. And Sydney, hello again. I wasn't here for 1 or 2 months. Greetings from Peru. I remember you, Sydney. Welcome back. Katerina says, hi, Solomon. As always, nice to see you again. Katerina from the Philippines. And I kind of not know how long I've been into these sessions. Sometimes not around since it's too late my time. Yeah, I know sometimes these sessions are late for you guys. Zuberi from Texas. It's my first time here. I've always been interested in joining a session, but never found the time. But I'm trying to start participating regularly. Beautiful. Someone else, Ashwath. I'm here to adapt to exam and societal pressure and how to tackle them using mindfulness. Love from India. First time as well. Perfect. Welcome. Agnes from Indonesia. My first time. Welcome. And Harshita from India. I've been here for almost a month now. I have loads of academic pressure, and this session helps me to stay calm. Looking forward for today's session. Great. Thank you, guys. Thank you for introducing yourself. It's really, really genuinely lovely to hear from you, and lovely that you can make it. It's really nice. It's always a really nice mix of new people and people who have been before. So let me introduce the session. Oh, one more person, Lakshya, my name. Friend suggested I came from India. Welcome. So the way that these sessions run, guys, is I'll give a little brief introduction to a theme of mindfulness, then I'll guide you through a practice, and of course you don't need to have ever practiced a meditation before, and then we have the chat box open again. And yeah, really nice if you let me know how the experience was, share your experience with each other, ask many questions. Oh, one last person. Hi, Solomon. Since I started work, I haven't been able to attend these sessions as much as I would like. It's good to see you. It's good to see you too. Thanks for joining. So the theme of today's session and the practice which we're going to base it around is around the breath, around breathing. And this was kind of our theme from last session as well, but it has a slightly different flavor to it this time. I've been reading a book which I may have mentioned last time, which is all about the breath, and I'm just finding it really, really fascinating. One of the things I find most fascinating is how the breath is this link between what we sometimes call our autonomic nervous system, so those things that happen in the body automatically without us doing anything. So our internal organs, our liver, our pancreas are functioning, our heart is beating without us having to do anything. They regulate our internal experience. And this is also true for breathing. We don't need to be consciously aware of our breath to breathe. It's just something that happens. You don't need to be aware of it. You don't need to do it. On the other hand, breathing is the part of our autonomic system that we can also control. It's this really interesting link between aspects of our automatic processes which we can have an effect on. And our breath is linked to all kinds of different aspects of our health, including our well-being, which is very relevant for all of us, and also for our ability to focus and to concentrate. So if we're feeling quite stressed out, a little bit anxious, for example, we tend generally to automatically start breathing more quickly and what we call more shallowly. So it comes more from the chest than down in the belly. So what we're able to do with the breath by paying conscious attention to it is almost reverse engineer it. So we can regulate our focus and the stress and the anxiety by allowing the breath to come from somewhere deeper down in the belly and to slow down. So we just come at it from the other way, and we can tap into these automatic processes. So in mindfulness, we're not really working to control the breath, but what we're doing is we are noticing it, becoming aware of it. And often just that in itself allows the breath to slow down if it is a little bit fast. It allows the breath to come deeper down, opens up the diaphragm, allows the breath to come deep in from the belly rather than more shallow in the chest. And that can sometimes allow us to feel a little bit more relaxed and to reset ourselves as well. If we're feeling a little bit on edge, we can reset and then go about our day in a slightly better, more balanced, grounded place. So this practice is going to focus on really paying close attention to our breathing and just notice someone says you can't hear me. Can you not hear me? My internet was unstable. Now having the thumbs up, same old problem. We all know it. Oh, for those of you who are new, you don't know, this happens. So yeah, we're going to focus on our breath. Just notice where it comes from. We're interested in the sensations, and we're interested to notice where is the breath, how does the breath feel, and is it in any way changing or moving? And there's no judgment as to where we find the breath and whether it does or does not move or what we notice. It's just becoming aware of it. And the more we tap into the breath, the more we become familiar with it, the more we get capable of regulating that element of our experience that involves focus and well-being. So, ramble over. As always, I invite everyone, if they want to take part, to maybe notice if there's anything nearby that might be distracting. Maybe, as I always say, putting the phone onto silent, any social media that might buzz, any email that could pop up, or a notebook in front of you. Might be a good time to just reach over and do what you need to do so you can be present here. It's kind of what it's all about, being present, mindfulness. So, let's begin as we always do with a little stretch. Let's notice where in the body feels a little bit tight. What would appreciate a gentle touch or a massage? And just give our bodies that. Okay. When that feels good, when you're happy with that, you can just allow the body to come to some stillness. If it feels okay for you, you can just allow the eyes to gradually close. So an indication to our body, to our mind, that we're focusing inwardly. And then just take a few moments, really taking careful consideration for your posture, for how you're sitting. And just finding a way of sitting that's going to feel comfortable for the next few moments. Feels comfortable, but not so comfortable that it's going to encourage us to nod off if we're feeling a bit tired. Just allowing the body to settle into this posture, maybe making any minor adjustments, noticing how that feels. And just having a felt sense of the whole body sitting here. Maybe already you notice some kind of contrast to the way that you were feeling or the thoughts that were present just a few moments ago. There's some kind of shift into a sense of not really in this moment needing to do anything. One of the few occasions that we can allow ourselves to just be. And so then I'll invite you to just notice where in the body you feel the breath moving. Noticing it perhaps in the chest, or maybe in the belly, maybe elsewhere. And remembering that there's nothing that we need to do to change the breath, and there's no judgment about the experience. It's just noticing where in the body do we feel that movement as we breathe in and as we breathe out. And just noticing, how does that breath feel? Is there any stiffness, rigidity, harshness? Does it feel quite easy, gentle, soft? And tuning in for the full duration of each breath, the full cycle, the in-breath, the out-breath, the spaces in between. And sooner or later, it's usually sooner, we notice that our mind becomes distracted. And using this as an opportunity to remind ourselves that this is a moment of awareness, a moment of mindfulness. And then just developing that sense of curiosity about the breath again. Noticing where you feel it most clearly and noticing how it feels. And remembering that if at any point this practice feels a little bit overwhelming or uncomfortable, you always have choice. Maybe you wish to open up your eyes, shift your attention to something that feels more grounding or enjoyable. Or maybe going and doing something else that's going to feel a little bit more supporting to you in this moment. But otherwise, just coming back time and again into the body. If you notice the direct experience of the sensation of the movement being clouded in any way by a thought or a judgment, a sense of expectation of how this should be, noticing this as a moment of awareness again, and coming back to the breath. You may notice that thoughts from things that have happened in your day arise. Maybe there are thoughts of all the other things that you need to do after this. And as best as you can, just coming back to moment by moment awareness. Giving that gift to yourself of the rise and fall, the expansion and falling back of the breath in the body. And then just noticing if the breath feels any different to how it felt at the beginning of this practice. Has the movement shifted in any way? Has the speed of the breathing changed at all? Does the body feel any different to before? And if with any of these questions, any sense of judgment comes in around your experience, just reminding yourself that this practice is one without judgment. Nothing to achieve, nothing to do. Just notice and bring the mind back each time to the body and the movement of the breath. So as we come towards the end of this practice, just allowing the focus of your awareness to broaden out, to take in the body as a whole. Just like before, having a sense of the body sitting here, the outline of the body and the shape, the space that it occupies. Maybe an awareness of the sensations in the feet touching the floor, the body resting against the chair, beneath and behind you. And then just listening out for the sound of the bell. And so with that sound, we can gently bring a little bit of movement back into the body, like we did at the beginning. Staying with your attention partially focused in the body as you notice what movement would be most appreciated. And slowly, and when you're ready, you can allow the eyes to open. Take in the room around you, maybe. Noticing what you see as if you're seeing it for the first time with fresh eyes. And then coming back onto screen, maybe having a moment of appreciation, gratitude for those people you've shared this practice with. All around the world, but I very much feel like we're in the same place when we do these sessions. So we have just a few minutes, guys, at the end of this session, at the end of every session. We have the chat box open just like before. If anyone would like to, just let me know, how was that experience? What did you notice during that practice? And just like in a practice, there's no expectation that you should have had a particular type of experience. So what did you notice? How did it feel? How are you feeling now? If you have any questions, then please feel really welcome to ask them. Let's have a look. Oh, and if you would like to include your name and where you are in the world, that's always very welcome. I think this is Shruti. I could feel the breath going to my lower abdomen, and having earphones plugged, I could hear my heartbeat and feel it on my chest every time you stop talking. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us know your experience, and that's a really interesting observation. So there's a sense of change during that practice, so the breath coming down deeper into the abdomen, and that sense of the heartbeat. I'd be really interested if you want to say anything more about what you noticed about the heartbeat. Was there a sense of how fast or slow it was going? Was there any reaction? Was there any other emotion bubbling up for you when you noticed how the heart was beating? Angel said it was good as before and awesome, mind refreshing and helpful too. Awesome, Angel. Thank you. Great to have you back. Sydney says, I feel relaxed. Before the session was tired. Now I have more energy. Angel also says it makes me feel more of my body. Yeah. A lot of the time, mindfulness practices encourage us to get into the sensations in the body. In many ways, the sensations in the body we can think of as the core ingredient of our experiences. The thoughts and emotions often can be found with some origin or some element that's reflected within it in the body. And sometimes it's less intense, or it's easier to access, or we get less distracted by paying attention to the experience in the body than if we try to go straight into analyzing the thought or going deep into the emotion. Sometimes working with the body sensations, noticing it, accepting it, watching it come and go can really be a process by which we can unravel the experience. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to find my place. Isabella says, hi, I was getting so stressed because of school at the point I couldn't focus anymore. But now I feel better. I feel I can connect with my mind deeply. Thank you. Thank you, Isabella. And Rain says, I feel reborn. Beautiful. Izzy, I think, says, I noticed that my chest hurts a lot. I need to breathe more deeply. Thanks, Solomon. Yeah, and this isn't something that we ever need to force. Sometimes the noticing itself, it may take a little bit of time. It's a process, but just by noticing aspects of our behavior and coming back and back time and again to that, it just allows that shift to take place all by itself. It's not something we have to force. It's a great noticing. Janina says, I noticed that today I felt my mind really wandering with negative thoughts, which got me frustrated, but the thoughts eventually went away. Absolutely. So sometimes we do, sometimes it is negative thoughts that we notice, and those are there. And it sounds like what took place was a really interesting process. There was initially some frustration, and then you notice the thoughts went away. That's a really, really helpful learning in mindfulness. It's that many aspects of our experience are impermanent, and I'm really glad to see that you stayed with the experience long enough to notice that that happens. So then sometimes, maybe next time, when the negative thoughts come back, because they will, because we're human and negative thoughts arise. We'll remember that, oh yeah, the last time I felt negative thoughts, I remember it passed. So maybe next time it feels a little bit less scary or intimidating. Okay. Divyanash says, I noticed the change in pattern of breathing. I could feel stress releasing slowly with the change in heartbeat. At first, it was fast and slowed down towards a bit. I feel my eyes more relaxed. Thank you. Stella says, I want to ask about reducing stress and what things we can do to calm down and relax. It's a great question, Stella. I'd really recommend a practice like this, often working with the breath, as we said. Working with the breath and noticing it, tuning into it, allowing it to slow down can help us to feel relaxed. If the breath isn't quite working for you, there is a practice called the 3-step breathing space. And there is a recording of a guided version of that on the StudyStream website. You just click on events, go to mindfulness, click to learn more, and there's a link there. So I'd recommend you check that out. And also these sessions are up on YouTube. So if ever you want to repeat any of these practices when they're not live, then they are there and available to you. Okay. Alessandro says, it was harder than I thought to stay focused on my breath only, but once I opened my eyes again, I could feel myself energized and refreshed. Yeah, it's a simple practice, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. Keeping our attention, our focus in one place is challenging. But I'm glad that you noticed, actually, even though it didn't feel like it at the time, we come out of the meditation and sometimes we're surprised to find actually there was something taking place there. And we do feel maybe, yeah, as you said, more energized and refreshed. Zai says, my breath felt short and rushed earlier, which made sense because I'm running on deadlines. But towards the end, it felt calming again, like I fed enough oxygen to the body again. Nice. Shriti says, I noticed it was calmer than how it is during the day. Most of the times I feel scared with faster heartbeats all the time, but right now it was resting and relaxing heart. Thank you. Lakshya says, I don't need a coffee now, so thanks. Someone says, sorry, I don't know the name. My vision seems much more clear now. Thank you. Ying from Thailand says, hi. Comparing this to the last practice, I felt more satisfied and calmness, although I noticed my thoughts were away. However, it was completely acceptable in my mind at the moment. Thank you so much for your guide. I appreciate this so much. Beautiful, Ying. Thank you. Yeah, every time we practice, we have a different experience because every moment we're a little bit different. But really interesting how what you brought to this that was different was you were able to accept the fact that that's sometimes where our mind is. It can be quite busy, it can be quite all over the place. So great work. We have Cookie. I found myself realizing that this was the first time today where my mind wasn't racing through all the tasks that need to get done. It made me realize just how fatigued my body is. But at the same time, I found new energy to focus. Thank you. Thank you. Joying says, with love. Angel says, these sessions are a powerhouse for me. Katerina says, actually, since I was kind of focusing on a part of my body, like my feet on the floor, I kind of get a bit distracted and focusing on my breathing, but it's really great. I think it's really on end that I feel much less restless, I guess. Yeah. Stella says, I want to ask about, oh yeah, that was the question again from Stella about reducing stress. I would say a breath practice like this. And like I said before, popping onto the StudyStream website, there's a guidance that I give there. It's just a short practice that you can use. Okay, no name here. These kinds of practices always remind me how sometimes we can be violent to ourselves. I was feeling so bad when I thought about the things that I need to do, pushing myself to the max, but maybe I'm just not feeling like doing something right now, and that's okay. Yeah, what a beautiful insight. Yeah, beautiful insight. There's always this sense of urgency of needing to push ourselves, but yeah, maybe it's okay to just not do that thing right now. Maybe that's just a thought, a pressure we put on ourselves, but we can take a step back and actually ask ourselves if that needs to be done right now, if we can give ourselves a little bit of slack. Angel said, it makes me relax the mind and body and helps reduce stress. I don't have the name. Thank you, Sol, for another amazing session. I love the positive vibes you bring here for us, and it's been a while since I've heard those seagulls. Are they okay? The seagulls, I assure you, are absolutely fine. They're just very loud, so I've taken to closing the window. Maybe next time after I've guided the session during this, but I'll open the window and you guys can hear them. Okay, Natalie says, I've been really stressed and frustrated way too much, yet I'm so glad that this session helped me relax mentally, emotionally, and physically. It helped me release the tensions that I've been feeling for quite some time now. Thanks as always. Thank you, Natalie. I've got a question. I often feel overwhelmed with work and sometimes self-doubts with what I'm doing. Any tips on how to overcome this? Yeah, similar to before. So again, that practice that I say that's on the StudyStream website is really helpful for that. I think it's really helpful to pause. If we're noticing that we're starting to feel overwhelmed, then that's really great noticing, first of all. Sometimes we go through these troubling emotions like stress and overwhelm, and we don't actually know that it's happening, and it just repeats and it gets a little bit worse and worse and worse. And then when we realize it's happening, it's so far gone, it's very difficult to do anything about. So if you're starting to feel overwhelmed, I would just say pause whatever it is that you're doing and just ask yourself those simple questions. Check in. Just say, what thoughts are in my mind right now? And what emotions are present? How am I feeling? And how does it feel in my body right now? And that's the first step of this 3-step practice. And then the second step is to come into your breathing. Maybe place a hand on your belly or your heart and just tune in for a few breaths. Get used to that rhythm. Maybe notice if just that awareness allows it to calm down. And then in the third step, we start to take in a sense of the body as a whole, bring in some sounds and just bring ourselves back into the world again. So it's called a 3-step breathing space. You can look that up, check it out on YouTube as well. There'll be plenty of practices and you can learn that one. And that I think should be really helpful for that purpose. Natasha says, hi Solomon, I joined the session a little exhausted and anxious, but after the practice, I've noticed that I'm less anxious and more relaxed. Thank you. Great. Angel says, when I open my eyes, I feel different and energetic to work and continue to study. Someone says, I will be honest, I was getting pretty distracted throughout this. I eventually managed to relax a bit towards the end, and now I feel more refreshed. Well, thank you for being honest. I'm 100% sure that you are not the only person who felt pretty distracted throughout this. I feel plenty distracted through most of my meditations that I do for myself. So you're in good company. So don't worry about that. The fact that you've turned up, you set that intention to do the practice and you followed it through to the end, that's great. That's awesome. And in the end, you did happen to feel quite relaxed. So that's great. Mia says, I noticed that it was easier for me to change my breathing from shallow to deep breathing after joining these past sessions. Great, thank you, Mia. Last couple, we have Clarissa. It's 3 a.m. here in the Philippines, and with this activity, I feel like I'm supercharged, recharged, not supercharged, maybe supercharged as well, and relaxed. I'm happy I joined here. I really needed the wisdom and motivation. Thank you, Solomon. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Wow, 3 a.m. Always impressed with you guys. And Angel says, is there anything to stay focused because I get distracted very fast? Yeah, keep doing these practices. Any practice that asks you to bring your focus, your attention back time and time again is training your mindfulness muscle. It's training your muscle of focus, of attention, so that outside of these sessions, you will have worked it out. Just like I always say, you work a muscle in the gym, you are working your brain, your mental muscle in a mindfulness session. So keep practicing, keep on coming back, and just set that intention as you go about your day, building little moments of mindfulness into your day, having that intention to just be in the moment, to just notice what's happening in each moment as you go about your day. And slowly but surely, your mind will start to get used to that and will start to naturally be a little bit more present. But it does take time. It does take a bit of time. Okay, those are all the comments and questions, and we're probably over time. Yeah, we're 5 minutes over time. So sorry. Yeah. Do I do that a lot? I feel like I might do that a lot. Is that a thing I do? I'm not sure. Yeah, people are like, yeah, a bit. So now it is time for me to leave, for you guys to have your open mic session. You guys can unmute, hang out, please, as always, yeah, let's speak with mindful awareness, kindness, curiosity, all those lovely, lovely things.